Today's show is brought to you by State Farm agent Ryan McDevitt. If you're a local small business owner, you know how important it is to be there for your customers. State Farm agent Ryan McDevitt runs a small business in Downers Grove, too, and he's here to help you protect your small business. Call Ryan today at 630-796-2662. That's 630-796-2662. Or visit his website, ryanismyagent.com. That's ryanismyagent.com. And make sure to mention Sports Talk Chicago. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I want to start today with this question. What's so wrong with being a baseball purist? I know, I said the forbidden word, watch out. I'm sure all of you will now comment on this video. Comment on social media saying I'm a boomer, I'm from the Stone Age, I know nothing. Believe me, I've heard it before. I'm sure I'll hear it again. You're free to do it. But just humor me for a second, okay? What's so wrong with respecting the tradition and the history of the game? What's so wrong with cherishing what the game has been for 150 years? What's so wrong with loving baseball from 20 years ago compared to today? Again, I ask, what's so wrong with being a purist? Look, I know the game has changed. I know it's different. Many people will tell you it's for the better, Sabermetrics, new age, different ways to measure everybody. And that's fine. If that's what you believe in, you're entitled to that belief. But that raises a very interesting question, okay? Why is it that the game has lost fans, revenue, ratings over the past 5 to 10 years? Why is baseball going down instead of up when they're embracing all of this new age stuff? Technology, war, computer screens, pulling out pitchers in the 5th inning. That's what everyone wants, right? That's the new age of baseball. Wrong. Here's what's happening. All of you who claim there are no purists, they don't exist, they're fading away. No. We're here. And you may try to belittle us and tell us we know nothing about the game, but we have an influence. Baseball is going down because their core fan base, the purists, are disenfranchised with the game. I certainly am. This isn't even a Cubs or a Sox issue. It's just the game itself. I didn't grow up watching 7-inning doubleheaders and California rules and extra innings. I never thought I'd see a universal DH, 50-man rosters, 16-team playoffs. But here we are. Rob Manfred using the pandemic to institute all of these changes permanently. If you remember on WCKG, I said this back in May at the beginning of the pandemic. I said Rob Manfred and baseball would use the pandemic to institute their own agenda. All of this stuff that we saw last year wasn't supposed to happen for, 10 years at least. Now it's all here. Bob Melvin was quoted as saying, "We have to embrace the change. Change is all around us. We have to bring it in." See what they're telling you? See what they're feeding you? See the inferior product that they're putting out on the field day in and day out, and we just accept it and take it? Now we have a report from Bob Nightingale that the MLB is considering implementing a universal DH permanently and an expanded postseason. And they will, without question, for this upcoming year, have 7-inning doubleheaders and extra inning games beginning with a runner on second base. There you go. You lovers of the new age game, there you go. In popular culture and popular media, you may reign, and that's fine. I get it. But as far as the purists go, you're going to keep alienating your core fan base. They're gone. How's this for just weird? I'm filing this under the weird category. On August 14, 2014, MLB owners elected Rob Manfred to become the new commissioner. Manfred stated that his primary goals as commissioner were youth outreach, embracing technology, quickening the pace of play, strengthening player relations, and creating a much more unified business operation. Well, I'm no expert. I'm not. I'm just a college student. But does any of that sound conducive to the game of baseball? Does any of that make you excited? See, to me, it really doesn't. To me, what it says is we're going to water down the game with technology. We're going to pander to sabermetricians, to new age people, and we will find a way to get rid of the core fan base. They had the right intentions, but they underestimated the power of us purists. They underestimated the fact that we may not watch anymore when in the World Series, for example, the starting pitcher gets pulled in the 5th inning by Kevin Cash. They took us for granted. They took us purists for granted year in and year out. And now they're wondering, why are ratings down? Why are revenues down? Why is there no interest? Why did we prioritize youth outreach and not keeping our current fans happy who've been here for 50, 60, 70 years in some cases? That's what happens when you make that sort of business decision. There is, however, a small piece of hope. Theo Epstein was hired by Major League Baseball last week as a consultant to on-the-field matters for baseball, part-time. In a statement, Theo said this in part, quote, "The executives like me, who've spent a lot of time using analytics and other measures to try and optimize individual and team performance, have unwittingly had a negative impact on the aesthetic value of the game and the entertainment value of the game in some respects. For once, Theo is right. You could say what you want. Baseball is not a game of computers, of spreadsheets, of regression lines. It's a game of guts. It's a game of playing. It's a game of physicality. It's a game of throwing and catching and hitting and pitching and running. That's what baseball is. You could try to simulate baseball. They do it all the time. The PECOTA rankings come out every year. They're never right. There is and there will always be a human element to the game. I don't care who that ticks off. It's the truth. It is. You may try to get rid of the human element, put in robotic umpires and who knows what else, but you never will. You'll never fully get rid of it. And people like me, purists, will always cry foul when changes are made, drastic changes are made, because that's not what baseball is supposed to be. You think in the 1960s, during the golden era, they were using computers and tables and analytics? No, they weren't. Was Bob Gibson on the mound checking spray charts before the game? Did he have the note card on his hand? Now they have note cards in their pockets and on their hands, knowing where to go, how to play. Did they have that stuff? No, they didn't. At that point, it was pure skill. Hit or pitcher. Hit the ball or strike out. That was fun. So what if it was a 1-0 game? So what if it took 3 hours? That's baseball. That's the beauty of the game. There's no clock. No clock management. Oh, 2-minute warning. Have to watch out. No. You got to play every inning. You got to record 3 outs in every inning to keep going. And I'm shocked and happy that Theo made that statement. He'd be a great commissioner. He'd be better than Manfred. That means he'd be great. Think about sincerely what Rob Manfred has done since he's come into office. Or what will be done. Universal DH, extra innings rules, 7-inning doubleheaders, postseason expansion, letting the Astros get away with rampant cheating, not suspending any players for that incident, suspending a manager and an executive, and one of the managers, he's back already. A.J. Hinch is back. What positive things has he done for baseball besides maybe reach out to some more kids and get them to like the game? Oh, and pander to sabermetricians. That too. That's been it. You may think we don't exist. It doesn't look like we exist, but we do. Baseball purists will always exist. They might be alienated, they might be disenfranchised with baseball, but they'll always be there. And every single year, systematically, it seems like, Major League Baseball finds ways to undermine us, the purists. And then they sit back and wonder why revenue's going down. What do we do? Interest is dwindling. What are we supposed to do? It's not a secret. Pop culture, pop media may say Sabermetrics is in. Major League Baseball may pander to those people. But traditionalists, purists, they still exist, and they have more influence than you think. That's why to hear Theo Epstein say that analytics have hurt the game, we need to go back a bit, that's the most encouraging thing I've heard come from anybody near the commissioner's office, ever. Ever. Because Theo knows. We all know. We may be afraid to say it, but it's true. Sabermetrics may have helped a bit, marginally helped, but they've more so hurt the game. They've disenfranchised fans. They've made the game almost too complicated to understand. And they've taken away the human element on purpose. It's gone. They've also made old stats ludicrous and forbidden. I like batting average. Who cares? Why is that an issue to so many people? It means you hit the ball. It means you do your job. Baseball is about hitting, not walking. On-base percentage is important, but batting average is too. RBIs, you drive in your teammates. Why is that a bad thing? Now we're using WAR, an approximation, to determine how much money someone should get, how valuable they are to their team, and it's ludicrous. Ludicrous. WAR is an approximation. It's not a real number. It's not a real stat. All of this stuff has desecrated the game. And so to hear Theo Epstein say, we need to scale it back a bit, that's encouraging to a lot of people. And maybe, just maybe, that'll help out the MLB and their current situation, because they're losing fans left and right. They're losing revenue. They're losing ratings. Because no one wants a new age of baseball. Everyone just wants the game as they remember it. You're losing 50-year-old fans of the game because they don't recognize it anymore. I don't recognize it anymore, and I'm 20. That should be talked about more. And that's why to hear Theo say that, it made my day when I saw it. That's why I'm doing a video and a monologue on it. It made my day. Look, I'm not a fan of the way Theo left here. I like the rebuild. I like the World Series, but he did lead the Cubs in shambles. That said, he'd be a 10 times better commissioner than Rob Manfred ever would. If he stays true to his word, if he doesn't prioritize youth outreach, embracing technology, pace of play, if he just says, I want baseball to be the way I watched it when I grew up, if that's his mantra, if that's his attitude, he'll be an outstanding commissioner. Great commissioner. I know baseball is a business. Every sport is a business, I know. But what the MLB has done is not good for business. They've lost money and ratings and revenue because they've made the game modern, new age, Sabermetrics. The last time I checked, if you run a business and you're doing something wrong, you're doing something to hurt your profits, you better get out of there real quick. Because eventually, you won't have your business. You will go bankrupt. You'll have nothing. I don't want that to happen to baseball. I love the game. No one wants that to happen. So my hope is that Theo, at some point, will become the commissioner. And he'll enact small changes that prioritize the game and its fans, its entire fan base, not just the new age sabermetricians. Time will tell whether he'll do it or not. Time will tell, too, whether Rob Manfred gets done with the universal DH and more postseason play. But I just want to say this. Whether you like it or not, purists still have a large influence. They love the game. These moves that you've made have hurt the game, and they've disenfranchised and alienated your core fan base. You're prioritizing people who may or may not be fans. You don't know. You're trying to convince them to come to your side, and you're leaving behind those who got you to this point today. Think about that. What happened to loyalty? What happened to prioritizing those who watched baseball for 50 plus years? What happened to catering to those who genuinely love your sport? I know it's a business, but even in a business setting, you don't toss aside your loyal customers for new ones. Just blatantly toss them away. You don't do that. you cater to them too. Baseball hasn't. They've left a lot of people behind. And if they want things to get better, they need to go back to how it was before and bring back those who've been disgusted with the game's recent changes. More to come here on Sports Talk Chicago. My interview with Billy Wagner comes up next, so stay tuned. Hey, do you want to make some money this weekend? What if I told you I could offer you $250 free to bet on any game you want? Here's what you have to do. Go to sportstalkchicago.com/cash, sportstalkchicago.com/cash. You must be 21 plus. You must be an Illinois resident. You could bet $250 free on any game you want for this upcoming weekend. NFL playoffs still going strong, NBA, college basketball. It's a great time to put down some money and win a whole lot more back. Go to sportstalkchicago.com/cash, sportstalkchicago.com/cash. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.